What if you could confidently ride a motorcycle and feel the thrill of the open road so that you could explore new horizons and experience the freedom that only two wheels could offer? For example, you'll learn how to smoothly control your throttle, manage your clutch, and execute precise braking, giving you the skills to handle any situation on the road. That's not all. You'll hear from a rider with over a decade of daily riding experience on how to navigate traffic and handle tricky situations with ease. Believe it or not, the first lesson in how to ride a motorcycle is how to start a motorcycle. You see, it's not exactly like a car, and it can be pretty embarrassing if you get it wrong the first time, especially in front of people. That's what happened when I went to go buy my first bike, so trust me, I know. It was a used 1994 Suzuki GSXR 750 that I found on Craigslist. I know, horrible choice for a beginner bike, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, but I didn't want to listen, so that's what I got. I just thank God I'm still here. I told the owner that I already knew how to ride, and even though that was a stretch, it was technically true. The problem is, up until that point, I've never actually started a bike myself. Every one that I've ever been on was already running when I got on it, and I never thought to ask anybody how to do it. So when he passed me the key, I found the ignition right away, turned the key. Took me a couple of seconds, but I found the starter button, pressed it, nothing happened. So I pressed it a little harder just to make sure it wasn't loose or anything. Nothing happened. 2 or 3 more times I pressed the button, got nothing. Finally look at him, I go, "You sure this thing runs?" He facepalmed, shook his head, said, "Dude, it's in gear and the kickstand is down." Looking back, I totally understand his frustration. That's something I absolutely should have known if I was going to have the nerve to tell somebody that I knew how to ride. Live and learn, but I sure wish I could have saved myself the embarrassment like you can now. So, you know you can't start it when it's in gear and the kickstand is down. Here are your options. You pick the kickstand up, pull in the clutch, start it. Or what I do, put it in neutral. Start it right up on the kickstand. Especially when you want to let the bike warm up, because other than that, you're going to have to hold the clutch the whole time, and who wants to do that? So, put the key in the ignition, which is typically going to be located on the triple tree. If not, whoever sold you the bike should have told you where it is, because that's weird. You turn the key, and the dash is going to light up. I don't have a key. My ignition is keyless. I just have a fob that stays in my bag. But the same effect is going to happen when I press this switch from stop to run. Let it light up. You're going to hear the fuel pump going. Now, all you got to do is press the starter button, and you're good to go. The next thing you want to get down before you go on your first ride is how to find neutral. A lot of people complain about that, make it seem like it's impossible to do. People with years of riding experience still can't find neutral, and I don't understand how that is. If it was really that difficult, I wouldn't tell you to figure it out before you went on your first ride, because it's obviously not dangerous. But all you got to do is give it a little throttle. Now, once you get the touch, you won't need to do that. Your foot muscle memory will just automatically nudge the shifter just the right amount to put it into neutral. I can't remember the last time I needed to give it some throttle, the last time I had a problem getting it into neutral the first time. But if you're having trouble, just apply a little bit of throttle, and now when you go to click it into neutral, it won't want to pass and go into second. Goes right in, problem solved. Here's the clutch cheat code. Start in first gear, take your hand off the throttle. Obviously not how you're going to ride every day, but how you're going to learn. Now release the clutch very, very slow, very easy. When the bike starts moving, don't just let off. Keep going at the same pace. Even when the bike starts moving strong, same pace. You see I'm still on the clutch. Just let off. Now I pull it back in a little bit because it's getting choppy. But you see no throttle. Just working the clutch. Stop, and let's do it again. No throttle. Easy on the clutch. Easy. Easy. I'm still 60% of the way out. Easy. Bike's getting some momentum. Now I'm off. This bike has tall gears. You can't really get off the clutch until 20 miles an hour. So depending on the bike, it might be a little bit easier than this. But that's all you want to do, is just be so easy on the clutch that you don't need the throttle. And then you'll get comfortable, you'll understand the purpose of it. Now, you can put a little throttle to it. And as you let off the clutch, you want to give it a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more throttle, otherwise it'll bog down on you. Now when you want to shift, let off the throttle, pull in the clutch, click it up into second, and now you ease off the clutch, but you do it a little bit faster than you do when you're starting off in first, because you already have the momentum. Shift again down. Let's turn around. Now, you know, every time you stop, you have to pull in the clutch, otherwise the bike's going to stall out. Just like that. Even if you don't come to a complete stop, if you're going to slow it down past the point where the bike can maintain its speed, then you got to pull in the clutch. If you're a new rider, then going over a bump on a motorcycle may be different than anything you're used to. You see, even on a sport bike with very stiff suspension, you don't even really have to slow down. Well, not unless you were going way too fast to begin with. When you see the bump coming up in the distance, prepare yourself to lift off the seat ever so slightly, just before making contact. You're not going to fully stand up, just lift yourself up enough so you're not touching the seat. But make sure you do that, because if you don't lift off the seat and you hit a big enough bump, especially for a man, let's just say you're going to feel it. And you might even crash your bike. The art of counter steering. In order to make a turn, go around a curve, or even change lanes, you have to get your motorcycle to lean. You could do that by shifting your body weight, but an easier way is counter steering. It's exactly what it sounds like. Try to turn the bars one way, and the bike goes the other way. This is because the wheel will not turn at speed. So when you try to force it, it ends up pushing the weight down on one side, and that's where you go. So whichever way you want to turn, you push that side. I'm going to exaggerate my movements here so you can see. Whenever you see my elbow straighten out, I'm pushing. Whenever you see my elbow bending, I'm pulling. Watch how every time I push, the bike goes to that side. That's how you want to initiate a turn. Or even just the simplest switching lanes as you see here. Many inexperienced riders and drivers alike have a fear of the highway, although it's actually safer. As you can see by these cones, construction work is prevalent in many places during the week. Businesses have customers entering and exiting the premises at all times. People cross the street, not always at crosswalks, not always when they have the light. People's pets get loose, run out into the road. Guy in front of you slams the brakes. You have to be ready for all of these things. People making left turns, right turns, U-turns. A lot of times without warning, not everybody uses a turning signal, especially in Florida. As a matter of fact, in 2017, I was in the left lane going straight. There was a woman in the right lane and there was nobody in between us in the middle. We come to a light was green. She realizes at the last minute that she needed to make a left turn. So she pulled her steering wheel without looking, cut across all 3 lanes. Hey, kind of like this guy just did. The only difference was when she did it, I was in the left lane and she went through me to get into the turning lane. She smashed my knee with her fender. It dented my gas tank. My knee, not the fender. Then I flipped off the bike. My helmet cracked like an egg when it hit the ground first before anything else. I rolled a few times, and then I broke my back on the divider at L2. It was not at all comfortable. Only by the grace of God am I still alive. I can still walk, and there was a very short recovery period. But I have God to thank for that, not the local traffic. So if you want to stay safe, stay on the highway where everybody's going in the same direction at about the same speed, and the only place you have to worry are at the entrance ramps and the exit ramps. Sometimes in local traffic you have to go really slow, and that can be tough on a heavy bike. What you want to do is drag the rear brake, pull the clutch in partially, and give it enough throttle so when you let the clutch out, it will not stall. You start to lose your balance, you can turn your wheel back and forth like this, and if that doesn't work, you let the clutch out a little bit, which is why you're giving it throttle. When you let the clutch out, you'll speed up, that'll balance the bike back out, and now you can reattempt to slow down again. When the highway is clear, it's pretty much smooth sailing, but you still have to be careful. So constantly scan your mirrors and your blind spots. Have escape routes planned out in the event that somebody does something stupid, because that'll cut your reaction time down and give you a much better chance on avoiding an accident. You want to be going slightly faster than the flow of traffic, but not so fast that you get a ticket or build up momentum and can't stop in time if somebody cuts you off. You want to ride on one side of the lane, basically where the tires of the car in front of you are. Doesn't matter what side, but I prefer the one closest to the line in between the lanes, so it gives the cars an opportunity to see me in their mirror, not like they're looking anyway. As I approach them, I move over a little bit, give myself an opportunity to punch the gas and get away if they switch over at that exact moment. But when there's no car next to me, I like to be right there on the line so they see me coming. In traffic, it's a completely different story. What a lot of non-riders and inexperienced riders don't realize is the reason that we lane split is for safety. For example, in California, where it's legal to lane split, they have 30% less motorcycle deaths per capita, even though they have a much longer riding season than most places in the country. Splitting lanes gives you the opportunity to stay safe in a pocket where it's least likely for cars to collide with each other. Normally, no matter how bad of a driver somebody is or how little they're paying attention, when they have a car directly next to them, they're aware of it, and they're not going to just switch lanes into that car. But rear-end collisions are a big problem. People play with their phones, they don't stop in time, they don't realize the traffic ahead stopped, and now you get yourself sandwiched in between two cars because you were doing the right thing and waiting online. So, if you're not comfortable lane splitting, there's something else you can do to stay safe. You can wait on the line, but stay in between the lanes. Don't pass the cars, but don't line up directly behind them either. You want to stay right on the white line, and you can stop and go as they do. Like I said, you don't have to pass anybody, but just stay on the line in between the two lanes. You don't want to be directly in one lane during traffic, because eventually it's going to end badly. Now you know the basics of riding a motorcycle. Next step, practice, practice, practice. That's the only way you're ever going to get better. And very important, get yourself some gear, some good gear. Don't go out there like me in a t-shirt. Now, before you start calling me a hypocrite, understand that I kind of did this on purpose. I normally at least wear my icon vest when I'm out there, because I did break my back that one time and I want to protect my spine, so I wear my icon vest. But I came out here in a t-shirt for this video just to show you guys that I'm not one of those all the gear all the time people that points the finger and bothers everybody about being safe. I'm not that guy. But when I started riding, I had the full leather get up like I was going to the track. You're gonna fall a lot. It's normal. And don't get a nice bike for your first bike either. Get something that already has some scratches on it. You're going to drop it, you're going to fall, and if you have the gear, it's not really going to hurt. Make sure you have gloves too, because the first thing that you do when you fall is put your hands out, and your palms get all scraped up. It's not pretty. But if you have the leather jacket, you have the gloves, you really should have the leather pants, but I'm not going to knock you if you don't do that. But get some heavy-duty riding jeans and some boots. And for the most part, you'll be fine. You'll get the practice you need. You'll be able to not have to worry too much about falling over, especially if you don't have the nicest bike. And that's the only way you're going to get better, is being able to practice without being nervous. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, subscribe because there's many more to come.
Ay, Douglas Antonio.